Hi, I'm Mike.
Hey,
How you doing?
doing good.
Welcome to episode 71 of I'm Right. The corner right there. We're gonna do another box office versus best picture episode.
Yes.
Since the previous one had like no views, we expect at least a couple. Okay. So you know what this is, Mike? Let me get the thing. Boom. This is the show where we decide if the top 5 best box office hits of one year are better or worse than the top 5 nominated for Best Picture. I have no idea what we're gonna do now that I think about it after 2008 because there's no more than 5 nominees for Best Picture.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck it, that's a problem for a future video store to define. But we're 80s. Oh shit, where's Mike? Shit, we lost Mike. This is live. I gotta vamp. Vamping. 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 The fuck is Mike? Vamping. Okay. I think he's back. I vamped.
I don't know what the hell happened there.
So, for this special episode, we are going to be talking about the year 1998.
Yes.
Because, you know, we are 80s and 90s kids, so it's going to take a while before we get to the problem of the 2008 thing. So, since we're going so far back, we actually look for somebody with, some knowledge, somebody who was actually alive in the era, somebody who can actually have witnessed these movies live in theaters. We got the immortal Kelly Boatman.
Yes. In terms of the government, I was technically born in 1999, and that is what I will say on camera so that they can't convict me because of what my buddy Lee may or may not have done 30 years before that.
Fair.
And dark. Okay. So, hey, what's up? Basically, this is what we do. We're gonna show the movies and we're gonna get a rating from our panel because we all watch them. If we didn't, be honest, say I didn't watch that, and we give it straight up 2 VHS tapes, and just figure out what adds the more in the end, right? So, we're gonna start with the only movie that actually made both lists. This movie was nominated for Best Picture and it's in the top 5 box office movies of the year. Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan. I'm thinking Mike Hanley is pretty happy about this one.
Oh yeah, very happy. Extremely happy. It's a great fucking movie.
Mr. Caleb Boatman, what do you think about this film?
Oh, I mean, it's kind of like the quintessential war movie for a reason, right? Like this is the war movie. I feel like that when people think of war movies, this is absolutely like one of the first 3, and it's iconic for a reason. I hadn't watched this film until like 4 months ago. I had obviously seen the opening Omaha Beach, which like that's something that I think every American should probably see and every person should probably see because it's so intense and so like it's incredibly well made. I don't think I ever need to see that opening scene again. It's so intense. And the rest of the movie, I think, is really good. I think the opening and the ending, like the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes, are perfect. I think the middle, it gets a little bogged down in cliches sometimes, but overall, the movie's fantastic.
Who are you, Facebook user? Let us know.
Mike Hanley.
Yes.
Did you own a Nintendo 64?
Yes, I did.
Who did it better, Spielberg or Conker's Bad Fur Day? Anyway, I also love this movie.
Saving Private Kazooie.
I actually really like this movie. I figure Mike is gonna give it 4 VHS tape. It's Mike, man, Spielberg.
Come on.
So, Boat, How much would you rate this film?
3.5 out of 4 VHS tapes.
Boom! 3.5. I would give it the 4.
Yeah.
I think this movie, even though the middle may be a little slower, I actually think it kind of earns that. And also, it kills Vin Diesel right away, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it made me like Vin Diesel. Is it because he died really quickly into the movie? Maybe. But
What's the formality? This is the formality, Mike, but it's 4?
Yes.
Okay. So, moving on. This is going to go for 2 because this is going to be for both lists. So, in the next list, we're going to go back to box office. And we got Pixar's sophomore effort, A Bug's Life. Mike, have you seen this movie?
Yes, I have. And I actually love this movie. This is one of my top Pixar movies. I remember seeing it in the theater, and I watched it recently as in 5 months ago, and I still love the shit out of it. It's a great fucking movie.
What do you think, Boatman?
I'll be honest, this is not what I would consider top tier Pixar. This was one of my favorites as a kid, and I still really enjoy it more for nostalgia purposes than actual quality. But I think everything, the circus bugs, is fantastic, and everything with Hopper is actually really well done. The stuff that to me doesn't work is the main characters. I think the ants are actually kind of cliche. I feel like maybe it's because of when I grew up, but this plot of the liar revealed narrative was done to death in so many family films, specifically Disney films, that it kind of just, I feel like it hurts every movie with that plot, regardless of when they came out. The character is lying about something, and then they have to learn the lesson not to lie. And there's the scene where he finds out he's lying, and we spend 20 minutes of the movie moping around and being sad. Then it's like, oh, it's okay, and then we're happy. And you just know that's coming, and it brings the movie down.
So, I assume you hate that movie. What's the guy's name? Matthew McConaughey. Like, How to Get a Guy in 10 Days, something like that.
I haven't seen that, but I know that happens in that movie.
That happens on both ends. They're both lying, and they're both revealed. And for some reason, one lie is worse than the other, and it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Good shit. Okay. This movie, though, I like it. I'm not one of the guys. I saw Toy Story when I was 14 years old. And I can tell you honestly that that movie is probably weaker compared to the sequels. Most people won't agree on that, but fuck them. This movie, I think it's more of an exercise in animation style. Pixar was kind of trying if they could animate a bunch of ants on screen at once because the technology didn't really allow it. So they actually made this movie with that idea, like how many ants can we put on screen at the same time? And on that level, it works. The animation does show its age, sadly, because it's 1998, so early CG doesn't hold up the way early animation did. Regular 2D animation from the 30s, 40s holds up better than CG from the 90s, early 2000s. So, and the story, everything that both said, it's weak for those reasons, but I still like the bird, and I still love Christopher Plummer as the bad guy, because he's fucking terrifying. So, based on that, I actually think this movie gets a pass for me. It's good, not great, but my kid loved it, and he's 4, so whatever. I gave it 3 VHS tapes. That's my take on this one. What do you think, Mike Hanley?
I also have it at 3 VHS tapes.
And Mr. Boatman?
I will give it 2.5 VHS tapes.
Ooh, savage. I thought you were going higher for some reason. I mean, he's the only one who lived through the 30s and 40s, so he knows fucking animation.
Yeah.
Now we're going to jump back to Best Picture. Our first Best Picture, other than the one that it's in both lists, is going to be Whoa, that's not a Best Picture nominee. This is Thin Red Line. Mr. Boatman, you did not give credit to this one when you disrespected it by giving all the props to the other one.
Okay, so here's the thing. What I said was that Saving Private Ryan is the first movie that people think of because it's more iconic. That doesn't necessarily mean better, it means more iconic. That being said, I do think Saving Private Ryan is better than this movie, but I think this movie is really good. I think it is so bloated, though. That's the biggest kind of problem. It is trying to...
The cameos? You hate the cameos?
It's not that I hate the cameos. It's that after a while, the movie just feels so massive that it's like you can kind of move it down a little bit because it gets a little exhausting after a while. And maybe that's the point, but it's honestly like there's so much Malicky shots of nature that I feel like could have been cut, like that I feel like if you take up all just the random, oh, look at how beautiful this is, that you can at least trim down 15 minutes of the movie. Just the random shots of nature. But
it's like you don't even watch Terrence Malick movies, man.
I'm saying that's my problem with Terrence Malick as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
But I think there's some really good stuff. I think my favorite part of this movie is Woody Harrelson. I think Woody Harrelson's just short little bit, I think is my favorite, and the way he dies is
he's so pissed about it too.
Yeah. He's easily my favorite part of this movie. But I think, I also think George Clooney's speech at the end is fantastic.
I actually I like George Clooney. I don't like John Travolta. I find his cameo more distracting for some reason. Woody Harrelson is great. He's so fucking pissed that he's dying in that stupid way. And I actually like the meandering. I mean, Terrence Malick, I get it. It's an acquired taste. Have you seen The Tree of Life?
I have not.
I have.
Have you seen A Hidden Life, the one he did last year?
I have not.
I have not seen that either.
Meandering as fuck. And yet, brilliant. Both of them. Anyway, same. I actually think... I don't think this is technically superior. I'm not saying superior to Saving Private Ryan. I think Saving Private Ryan is a more streamlined movie that is more open to general audiences. This one is more introverted, more pensive, maybe. I love the fact that they sometimes tell you what's in the mind of the people. Like when the soldier just drops and shoots the guy and he thinks and you can hear it I just shot a man. I just killed somebody. I no one can do a damn thing about it. Because sometimes you have no idea what is going through the mind of these people that are doing these awful things, but it's allowed because of they're in war, and the way some people just refuse to fight and choose instead to rebel or escape or do something about it. It's a beautiful film, beautiful nature shots, and I actually really like it. Mike, do you like The Thin Red Line?
I agree with Boatman that it's very, very long and you feel that fucking time, especially in the middle. You feel it completely. It has an insane cast and I enjoy Woody in this movie. I really do. But yeah, it's a chore to get through. They could have easily cut a lot of the nature shots and tightened it up, and I think it would have made it better. So yeah, it's a pretty good fucking movie. I enjoy it. I just don't fucking love it.
Just for your information, Mike, I just checked. The movie is literally 1 minute longer than Saving Private Ryan.
That's what I'm talking about. You can feel this time. You can't feel Saving Private Ryan, but you can fucking feel this goddamn movie.
I get what Mike's saying is that Saving Private Ryan doesn't have a lot of wasted notes.
Yeah.
Right? Everything that is there has a purpose. Whereas Thin Red Line, there's a lot of stuff I feel like could have been cut.
You know what movie doesn't waste any time? Saving Ryan's Privates. Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's Shaving Ryan's Privates.
What do you give this film?
3 out of 4. Because it has a lot of really good things about it. It just doesn't quite go all the way.
Mike Hanley, what do you think about the Thin Red Line?
I'm gonna give it a 2.5. It's a pretty good
Nine,
fucking movie.
really? Shit, that's
Wow.
savage.
That's for Mike. That's like the kiss of death.
I know.
A 2.5 for Mike.
I feel like I should balance this shit out, so I'm going 3.5. Fuck, man. That move. It's pretty good. Okay. Back to box office, and this is gonna be a fun and a bunch one. We got the classic.
Oh god.
There's something about that. Immediate for VHS tapes or what? Like,
Let's start with Boat on this one. I want to hear Boat.
Are you
Okay.
sure you want to start with me?
Yes.
Mike,
Okay.
you're gonna go first. What do you
You
think
want me to
about?
go first?
You want to talk? What do you think about Mary?
Look,
So this. Oh, Mike's good. Okay.
I enjoy this movie for what it is. Is it a great movie? No fucking way it isn't. But there's so much ridiculous shit in this that I can't help but fucking laugh. And what Matt Dillon is fucking fantastic in this movie. He's so ridiculous in this. Ben Stiller is always great. Cameron Diaz does a fucking phenomenal job in the part that she's given. But yeah, this movie, it's good, but it's fucking so stupid. And to me, there's a lot of parts that do not hold up, especially now looking at it through 2020. But I
Warren?
can still laugh at the
Is it Warren?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of the stuff with Warren does not hold up for sure. But overall, I can watch it and still enjoy it. It's a pretty good fucking movie.
How about you both? Did you enjoy Mary?
No. No. Okay. So first off, I want to start with if anyone has ever given crap to the movie 500 Days of Summer, they're like, oh, Summer is a manic pixie dream girl and Tom is kind of an asshole. If anyone has that opinion, they better not like this movie because this film feels like I feel like watching this is what most people feel like watching 500 Days of Summer that don't like it. I think Mary is just written to she doesn't feel like an actual character. She feels like some dude's porn fantasy. Like, if we're being honest, like, she doesn't feel like a real human. Ted's kind of an asshole. Like, he's just a dick, and he basically lies to Mary at the end and gets rewarded for it. Like, he just seems like kind of a douchebag. Not to mention, like, I think I could forgive all that if I thought the film was funny, and I don't find a lot of it funny. It's like the biggest problem. Just a lot of this comedy is not my type of humor. I'm not a big fan of just gross out shock value humor. That's just not my type of comedy. I get a lot of people like that, and I think that this film I do respect it for pushing the boundaries for what could actually be done in a comedy. Here's the thing. I think that, and I get why it was successful, because now a lot of the stuff that's meant to be shocking isn't really as shocking anymore. So it just kind of feels like you're trying to be shocked, and it kind of feels like your 12-year-old nephew just learned how to say a bad word, so he's doing it to try to get a reaction out of you.
I mean, I can agree with some of that, but there's also the fact that I mean, yes, things don't age well with this movie. Some things are just savagely wrong. But were they funny in 1998 when I went to see it? Yeah, they were, because I was a high school kid and I found it funny. And it's not just the fact that it's gross out humor. I think people don't really give credit to the Farrellys because they have a way that most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they could make like gross out humor work with some heart behind it. Because when you compare movies like this one, or Shallow Hal, or Stuck on You, to movies like, for example, Say It Isn't So with Chris Klein,
Yeah,
which is trying to do kind of the same humor and failing every second of it. It shows you that it's not really just about the gross shit. Or you can actually mention even movie 43 here, because those are just gross. This was gross, but kind of funny. And yes, it's not perfect. It's not as great as most people made it out to be. Maybe it was because it was one of the first, but yeah, the movie has issues. I don't think she should have chosen anybody from that movie. They're all fucking toxic weirdos. Except maybe Brett Favre, but he plays for the Packers, so fuck him. So, uh, I'll start this one. I would say I laughed enough with Mary, and some of the things that I found funny when they beat the shit out of him with the police at the table because they think he's murdering hitchhikers, or the time he like fell down and into a guy's dick and they thought he was part of a, I don't know, male orgy or something. That was kind of funny. I'm gonna give this movie 3 stars. No stars. VHS tapes. Fuck. Keep messing up. So 3 out of 4 for me. For There's Something About Mary. Mr. Boatman, how do you feel?
All right. This movie gets 1 VHS tape for all the actors who are actually doing a really good job. Specifically, Matt Dillon is very funny, even though I don't think he's being given a lot of funny things to say. I think the way he's playing it is actually very funny. And then 1/2 a star for the soundtrack. So 1.5 VHS tapes, not stars.
I'll take it.
Which the soundtrack slaps. For the one thing that the Farrelly brothers know how to do is pick a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Mike, what do you say?
I'm gonna go 2.5 VHS tapes.
Okay,
It's a pretty good fucking movie.
I'll take it. Back to Best Picture. Take out the VHS tapes. Yes. Okay. Back to Best Picture. We got an international phenomenon called La Vita Bella. Life is Beautiful. Who spoke first last time?
I did.
Whoa! What do you think about Roberto Benigni's Life is Beautiful?
I did not want to talk about this one because I feel like I have a controversial opinion about this movie. So here's the thing, right? I appreciate.
Is it better than Saving Private Ryan? Is that why it's controversial?
No. I appreciate what this movie is trying to do, right? I think this movie, I don't like the comedy at the beginning, right? Like, I think the movie is too silly to start out for this subject matter, in my opinion. It feels, and maybe that's because I expected something different, and that might just be on my expectations, but just a lot of the stuff in the beginning felt really off to me, and it kind of tainted my experience with the rest of the movie. So that's kind of my big problem with it. So I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm not necessarily going to hold it against. Like, I'm not saying that this is a bad movie. I don't think Roberto Benigni should have won Best Actor that year. I think that's a little ridiculous. But I don't think the movie is bad. I think the movie has its heart in the right place. But I don't quite love it as much as a lot of people do.
I agree. It's weird because I wasn't enjoying the first half of this movie as much. I mean, there are things I like. I like the part when he convinces the guy that he's making a special dinner order, when he's basically convincing him to just order what is done. I think that's pretty clever. But yeah, the movie was what was going in a direction that I didn't know what this movie was about. I didn't get trailers or anything. I just went to see it because the girl I was seeing wanted to see it. So yeah, not the kind of date I was expecting. But the movie was good in the end. I actually I thought it was going one direction, and then the fucking Holocaust shows up, and I think the humor at the beginning is kind of needed a little bit to explain the nature of what he's trying to do with his son in the second half. And I don't know, man. I just got very sad. This movie's good. Roberto Benigni was not the best actor. No, he should have won, but for Pinocchio. Okay. Actually,
Hey,
yeah.
Nazardo, I have a question about your Life is Beautiful date. Is this the same girl that tried to make out with you while watching Schindler's List? Or was that a different girl?
Different girl. This time, I was the one with the expectations because I didn't know what the movie was about. And then, like halfway through, I was like, I'm not getting anything tonight. But yeah, in general, I get it. The movie has definitely ups and downs, but I think overall, I actually enjoy it a lot. And in rewatches, I have appreciated the subtlety more than the first time. I definitely think it won the best foreign picture that was adequate, but
Yeah.
actor, yeah, that was a little rough because Benigni has a very Italian style of comedy that he was trying to put into this dramatic film, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it was weird. Mike Hanley, I'm gonna go turn on the light because it's getting dark. Well, you tell us what you think about this movie.
Okay. So yeah, I haven't. This is one of the movies I wasn't able to rewatch for this, so I haven't seen this in 10 years. So going off the memory of that, I agree with the comedy aspect that it is kind of off-putting in a way, but I think it is needed for what happens towards the end. I enjoy it for what it is. I don't really remember some of the parts in the middle, but throughout it, I remember enjoying it. So yeah, I think it's a good fucking movie, from my recollection. Who are you, Facebook user? Someone stole a boat. We need to know.
Both. Apparently, we stole you from somewhere. I don't know where it is.
I'm guessing that's Toho.
So, both. What do you give this film?
I'm going to give it 2.5 VHS tapes. I think that's fair because I do remember that last half being really powerful, but the first, again, the first half was kind of off-putting to me. I want to rewatch it some point and see if my opinion has changed because I also watched it when I was 16 and less smart about movies. So
Fair.
Mike?
I'm gonna go 3 VHS tapes. It's a good fucking movie. Until I rewatch it, maybe yes, it was a pirate bitch. I was gonna mention that. Coho is in the chat.
I would have. I mean, I originally planned on giving it 3.5, to be honest. But the more I think about it, I think 3 is adequate. 3 out of 4 is pretty okay. It does have great shit in it, but it also has some weak stuff that needs to be addressed. So, happier times, box office time. Our next film. Where's the? Okay. Our next film is a classic in its own right. A giant step for man. It's Godzilla. Look at that shit. The foot is the nail is bigger than tanks, and yet he hides in the sewers. Big sewers in New York.
I refuse to watch this movie. If you guys have fun, I'm gonna go plug my phone in.
Go ahead, Nazara. You start.
I watched this movie in the 1998, and I thought it was a fucking stupid movie. Till this day, I cannot understand the physics that they tried to sell us on this shit. The thing is that big. It also walks taller than buildings. It also barely steps on Hank Azaria, and you can see kind of like a bust size of a foot. And then they tell you it ran in the sewers, and it fits. And then the tunnels, and then they tell you this guy's looking at a dead end on a tunnel, dead end. And they're like, "Are you find the giant lizard?" Which I don't know what they were expecting to do, with some guys in raincoats with tiny flashlights looking for a giant lizard. He's like, "No, this is a dead end." And when he turns around, it's not a wall; it's just the eyelid, and it opens the eye. And I'm like, "Wait, if that's the eye, how did he fit in the sewer?" And you shouldn't be thinking about these things in a Godzilla film.
No.
You just shouldn't. Also, the design is so ugly.
Yeah.
It doesn't look at all like Zilla. It doesn't even have the roar. and it gets fucking put down by guns and missiles by the army. Godzilla never gets put down by the army. He gets put down by other monsters.
Yes.
And then he resurrects and kills the monsters. That's the thing. That's the gimmick of the thing. And I don't know, man. It's just, and he has eggs because supposedly he's a lady Godzilla, and the eggs are just a giant ripoff of
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Like they don't want to call them raptors, but they're obviously raptors with Godzilla-like heads.
Yeah.
This movie is not good. And oh, by the way, they have Mayor Ebert in this movie and something Siskel. I mean, they're both in it.
Yeah.
And then when Siskel gives trash to Ebert, he goes like, and I was like,
Wait,
I can-
Siskel and Ebert are in this movie?
no. That Roland Emmerich hated the fact that Siskel and Ebert gave trash to Independence Day so much
Yeah.
that he put
Oh.
two characters in this movie called Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
And one is the mayor, and the other I think is the mayor's aide.
Yeah.
or
He's
something.
the aide.
And they're both douchebags. And at one point, the aide, which is Siskel, like says that I quit to the mayor, and he's like, "You cannot quit on me." And the guy's like, "Thumbs up on you, thumbs down on you." And I was like, "Oh my god!"
Please tell me Siskel and Ebert pointed that out when they reviewed this movie.
Dude,
I want
very
to
loudly.
find the review of Godzilla '98.
Oh man.
Imagine,
anyway.
like nobody was better at tearing people down than Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah.
They were the greatest at it. I don't think, like, when people talk about insult comics, you bring up like Dom Rickles. I think the greatest insult comics of all time are not even stand-up comedians. It's Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert. Nobody was better at insulting people, and especially each other, than Gene and Roger. I need to find out if they said anything.
That was my piece on this pile of shit. And the soundtrack was okay. And I know Chance liked the Puff Daddy song. I like the Wallflower song. Heroes. Okay, Mike, what do you think about this giant shit?
You basically hit every point I was gonna hit. Yeah, this movie isn't good. It's fucking terrible. Damn.
Fun fact. The people at Toho, which own the Godzilla license, were so fucking pissed and disappointed by this interpretation, then they decided to ignore it. And in the next Godzilla for real movie, Godzilla, I think it's Godzilla 2000.
Yeah.
They said that they had some sightings of Godzilla in New York, and the kid is like, "No, the Americans thought it was Godzilla, but it wasn't really Godzilla. It was something else." And then in Godzilla Final Wars, where he fights all the monsters in one movie, they actually brought this thing back, called it just Zilla, no God, just Zilla, and he's destroying Sydney's Opera House, where Michael Campbell lives. And Godzilla puts him down in like 30 seconds flat. Is the first monster he talks down and the fastest one he talks down. He's like, "Fuck you." So yeah, that's what Toho thinks of this movie. Ratings time. I will give this movie 1 VHS tape. I don't know, Boat. You refuse to watch it, so that makes it a 2. Sadly, that's the rule. Mike Hanley.
And
What
you
do you
already know I don't go below a 2. It's a fucking movie. 2 VHS tapes.
This is sad. Godzilla got 5.
Two VHS tapes for Mike is the 2 that he uses to strangle you, to put you out of your misery.
That's accurate. Best picture time. We're gonna go with. Okay, let me get my list here. Aha. Jesus, man, this is everything so epic in this year for movies for Best Picture. This is Elizabeth, the movie that made me discover Kate Blanchett. Boatman, what do you think of this movie?
I'm of the opinion that everything around this movie is okay. Everything, like basically every performance in the background, like every supporting performance, the plot, the storyline, the direction, everything's like okay, nothing too bad, nothing too great, But Kate Blanchett is phenomenal in this movie. She is incredible, and she elevates the material so much. She is fantastic.
Jeffrey Rush is pretty great too, I have to say.
Jeffrey Rush is good, but it's his second best performance from a movie featuring Queen Elizabeth I that year.
I am confused, but oh no, that movie sucks.
Okay, but I'm saying it's the performance. He is better as
I can see that.
Jeffrey Rush is the best part of that. We'll talk about it, but he's the best part of that other movie.
Okay, Mike, you go.
I agree with Kate Blanchett. This is fucking an incredible performance by Kate Blanchett. This is my first time watching it. Was today actually, and I thought it was pretty good. You know, I didn't love it, but the performances are all there for it being the length it is. I thought the length didn't bother me at all. The story is fleshed out pretty fucking well. The performances by Jeffrey Rush is great. Yeah, I like it. I really do.
I would not. I would say kind of skip the sequel.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I actually thought about the sequel.
I don't know if to say the sequel is bad. Maybe it's not bad, but it's just not
the type of movie you would expect to get a sequel. Like,
you know, I feel I have the same feeling with Kick-Ass 2 or The Golden Circle. Those movies are not bad, maybe, but comparing to the first ones, they're all such a step down that it kind of diminishes it. So skip. Okay. Yes, Kate Blanchett is fucking great. I think she's the best Elizabeth, even though the other Elizabeth is the one who won the Oscar. Shit. I actually think I like it a lot because they give a lot of shit to Joseph Fiennes. I don't like that guy. Yeah. So in the two movies this is the one where he gets more shit. So I like that. So Mike, you're the freshest of the freshest. You watched it today. How much you give this movie?
It's a pretty good fucking movie. 2.5 VHS tapes.
Boat. What do you got?
I'm gonna give it 2.5.
2.5 too. Okay. I guess I'm the generous one here. I'm gonna give it 3. I actually think it's a good movie. To me, good movies get the 3 and up rating. 2.5 is kind of like I'm not sure. 2 is bad. So that's just my take on this. Let's figure it out. One more final box office hit of this year. Apparently, the movie that made the most money for some reason. It's the legendary Cracker. What is it? Animal Crackers, the movie? Is that it?
Yeah.
Hole in My Soul, the movie? No, I don't want to miss a thing. That's the song. It's Armageddon. With Bruce Willis. It says it right there. The movie that puts up to the test the theory that it's easier to learn to be an astronaut than is to make a hole. Mike.
Yes.
You like this movie?
Surprisingly, I fucking do. I enjoy the shit out of it.
That doesn't surprise me.
It's so fucking stupid. Like, the whole concept is so stupid, but I can't get enough of it. Fucking actors in this one. Peter Stormare by himself makes this fucking movie worth it. This movie's so fucking great. It's 90s fucking action, man, and I can't get enough of it. Steve Buscemi is fucking amazing in this. Willem Fichtner is great. I love it.
I feel like old man Barr asking them to turn the dang music down. Boatman, did you enjoy Armageddon like our friend Mike Hanley?
I enjoyed when it was over because I got to stop watching it. That was fun. No, I didn't like anything about this movie. Okay, I think like this plot, whatever. It's a stupid plot, but like that's the premise of the movie, right? I can give that a pass. What I can't give a pass is this weird, like, macho dick measuring contest that Michael Bay is having in this movie. Like, I feel
like the world.
What?
Like everybody. He's doing it against everybody. It's like weird.
Well, yeah, but like specifically, I feel like this is somebody like probably smarter than Michael said, hey, this plot doesn't really make sense. And so the entire movie is basically just fuck you, nerds. Like, this feels like it was written by Hollywood Video, if we're being 100% honest here. Like,
those motherfuckers definitely had a hand on this.
This feels like this was written by a bunch of like broy douchebag high schoolers. Like, I hate everything about these characters. It's this, they might be book smart, but they don't know real people. They don't know how to do oil. They don't know anything. We're the smart ones. How hard is it to go into space? We can go into space. It's what's really hard. It's to do the oil drillers. That's okay, Thomas. I enjoy fun movies. I don't enjoy movies that have this weird need to belittle people because for the sake of fun. Like, that's what annoys me about this movie. There are movies that are fun and stupid that I personally don't enjoy, but they don't elicit a negative reaction out of me as much as this one does. Because I feel like this movie is harmful. I feel like this movie's attitude is legitimately, like, bad. This is, like, this movie pisses me off, if I'm being 100% honest.
We get this. Yeah. They're so smart that they say that they make him work in the pool because that's close to the gravity of the moon. What? What?
To be fair, I think that is an actual thing that NASA does. Is they do have people.
The best part of the movie is when they go to the International Space Station and they find the same Russian. Oh fuck! Peter Stormare is fucking great.
Yeah, he's fucking fantastic.
And then Buscemi gets space dementia for some reason, which is a thing, apparently. They missed their spot because they didn't know how to fly the rocket correctly, which, duh. Oil man, cool. And then the gas pockets in the fucking asteroid, which is like, how are they walking in the asteroid? Oh my god, this movie is so good. You know what? Maybe I would have been able to turn my brain off if I hadn't seen Deep Impact first, which is an actual, real solid attempt of something, this kind of idea that they obviously knew they couldn't go into the fucking asteroid and make it realistic. So they just focus on the people on Earth and the sacrifice that somebody has to do to save the Earth. But I don't know, man. This movie is just fucking no. Bruce Willis has the same face when he hates Ben Affleck. And he uses that same face when he says, I love you. Take care of my daughter. I was like, dude, I don't think you're sincere. I don't know. Okay. Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to give this 4 VHS tapes or what?
Please don't.
Yeah, fuck you guys. 4 VHS tapes.
No! Yeah. Damn. That's the first. I know that's not the first 4. Okay. Both.
I was going to give this movie at least 1 VHS tape because of Steve Buscemi, but I'm not going to do it anymore. Now it's half a VHS tape because of you, Mike.
This movie is really stupid, but it doesn't mean it's not without rewatchability of the stupidness. So I'm gonna go 2. 2, because I have to admit that it's enjoyable just making fun of this piece of shit. So the last movie of the day is the final box office nominee, a real turd of a movie. A piece of shit, so overrated that it was my number one overrated movie of the 90s. I'm not saying it's complete trash, honestly, because I can do that. I can step out of myself and tell you something is not trash while I hate it. It's Shakespeare in Love. God, do I hate this movie. I'm gonna go first here. This is the living proof that people can be bought. Miramax decided that they were going to put all their efforts into making this thing a Best Picture winner. And they did. Because they gave it all the people in the Academy the movie with the gifts and the gifts basket and the messages and the merch and the shit. And they're like, hey, you're going to love this. Romantic is cute. It's Gwyneth Paltrow. It's great. Fucking push it. And people pushed it. This actually ended up with some people changing the rules more advanced, like the screeners can only have the movie and not extras or not previews or shit, and the studios couldn't really like give people gifts anymore. But damn, man, that fucking monster was a monster in more ways than one because he also sold this shit on everybody. He bought banners, he bought airtime, and I know this is not about the movie. It's just something I personally hate because it fucking worked. He did it again a year later with the Cider House Rules, which is even a worse fucking movie. And it got nominated for Best Picture. It didn't win, thank God, some decency. But I mean, this is what they were doing at the time, and it was fucking. What is this? The United States presidential election? No, it's the Oscars. It should be pure. So the movie itself, it's fine. It's cute, romantic twist on Shakespeare's story. I hate Joseph Fiennes with all my heart, and Gwyneth Paltrow is great. Queen Elizabeth, Judy Dench was great, but it was like 5 fucking minutes, and she won an Oscar for it, which is shameful. But Jeffrey Rush is fucking hilarious. Burn. Both. You like this movie?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think there's actually a lot of good things about this movie. I think that everything that actually centers around the creation of Romeo and Juliet is really good. I think that stuff is actually like it's a really kind of unique take on a biopic because it is have this really fun kind of light energy that you don't usually see in these types of period pieces. Like usually these types of movies are a lot more moody, and this one actually like has a lot of fun with it, and I appreciate that. The big problem is I think the actual like here, okay, there are 3 words in the title of this movie. The stuff I love about it is Shakespeare. The stuff I don't like about it is in love. I think the romance is bad. I think everything with Joseph Fiennes and Gwyneth Paltrow as like a couple is not great. And I think Gwyneth Paltrow's storyline is kind of not when she's in the actual theater and like involved in the production of Romeo and Juliet, it's good. When they do this kind of plot you've seen before where it's like, oh, she's betrothed to be married to some guy and Shakespeare has to rescue her because she doesn't want to marry him, and it gets stupid. But I think that the performances are actually really good. I don't think Gwyneth Paltrow should have won, but I think she deserved the nomination. I think Jeffrey Rush is the best part of this movie. He is having so much fun. And he is really good, and I love him in this role. Joseph Fiennes is a good Shakespeare, and Colin Firth, Ben Affleck. And I think Judi Dench, I would not say she deserved the Oscar that year. I would honestly probably give it to Kathy Bates in Primary Colors. But I think Judi Dench is a really good Queen Elizabeth for this film.
Okay, so I agree with both that everything with the romance angle doesn't work with this movie at all. This was actually I actually put myself off from watching this fucking movie for years because of the whole Saving Private Ryan thing, because goddamn. But everything with the Shakespeare, the Romeo and Juliet stuff, I enjoy. I enjoy everything with Ben Affleck. Jeffrey Rush is fucking hilarious in this. Yeah, if this would have just been about the making of Romeo and Juliet, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more than I did. I still think it's a pretty good movie, but yeah, it's fuck. Yeah, it's not a great movie by any means.
Right? Jesus. Okay. Let's rate this third. Like I said, I'm able to step outside, watch the shit, and realize it's not trash, even though I hate it. So honestly, my objective opinion is that this movie is about 3 VHS tapes out of 4. Even though I fucking hate it. So, what do you think?
I would say 3. 3 is probably the fair rating.
And Mike Henry.
Look, it's a pretty good fucking movie. It's a 2.5.
Boom. There we go. So now I gotta do some math. So Van.
So, Boat, are you glad you did 1998?
So I was glad that I watched everything that was assigned to me by the Lucas and Zach chat, because there was nothing as bad as Armageddon. I don't like that I agreed to be on this show because I had to watch Armageddon.
Makes it all worth it.
Like, if we're being 100% honest here, and we were kind of talking about this before the show started, the best movies of 1998 did not make either of these lists. My favorite movie of 1998 was The Truman Show. Yeah. And that should have been on the list. I think Rushmore's really good.
Big Lebowski
is on fucking 1998.
Big Lebowski, I would not say Pig in the
Happiness. Yes, it is.
I would say Dark City.
Oh yeah, Dark City.
Dark City, A Simple Plan is fantastic.
Mike loves Meet Joe Black. It's not here.
That seems like a Mike movie. The Last Days of Disco is fantastic. It's a very Boatman movie, but it's also like a really well made movie.
Well, drum roll, please. Adding the scores, actually, this wasn't close at all. By a score of 45.5 out of 60, and versus 38.5 out of 60, the winner is Best Picture. So that officially makes 1998 a Best Picture year. Stamp it. Seal it. It's done. Do you guys agree in general with this take?
Yeah. I would say so.
I'll take it. Yeah.
I think Armageddon and Godzilla really fucking killed it for the box office, though.
Well, I think it's because the giant special effects films this year were bad. Like, usually that's, especially in like the late 90s, those were the films that were just killing it at the box office. And like a film that in 97 ruled the box office was Men in Black. Like, that was one of the big ones. And that is a film that I think we can all agree is great.
Yeah.
It's a smart movie that is also just awesome. Like,
I actually think Titanic.
That's a fun movie. That's an awesome fun movie. Is Men in Black. Like, people say I don't like fun. I love fun movies. I just also need them to be well written.
Fair.
Where is it?
What are you looking for? He likes Men in Black. He's redeemed.
Yes.
So, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching our second episode of Box Office versus Best Picture. Who won last time? Was it Box Office? I think so, right?
Yeah, it was Box Office last time for sure.
So it's 1-1.
Yeah.
Are we going to go forward in time for our third episode? No, we're going back. We're going to the 80s. I'm just not saying what year yet. Probably next week we'll have some fun with that. But for now, that's it. I hate the microphone in this new computer. It blocks out the music most of the time. Fuck it. Thanks for showing up. Thanks Boatman for his opinions and sacrificing himself to watch Armageddon. Mike, you're weird. You're a great guy. See you guys. Till next time on